Hi, I'm Dilly MacFarlane, and this is the Alumni Special. Any visitor to the grounds of Mount St. Vincent University is usually overwhelmed by the beauty of our surroundings here. We're very, very fortunate in the natural beauty of our campus. We're equally as fortunate to have had Carol Goodwin act as our head gardener over the years. I'm going to be talking to Carol today about her career here as gardener and what her plans are for the future. So stay tuned. Carol, you're leaving us.
I am. Unfortunately, I'm afraid I am leaving.
Where are you going?
I'm heading to the University of Guelph in Guelph, Ontario to pursue my master's degree in horticulture.
And then what?
I don't know. Everyone asks me what my plans are. I don't really have any, strangely enough.
Would they involve coming back here to Halifax?
Hopefully. I would like to think that I'm going to return to the Maritimes. Horticulture in the Maritimes has been really good to me, and I like to think that I'm going to be back here and able to pursue my career in the province of Nova Scotia at least. I'll be at the University of Guelph for 2 years. I went on a flying trip up there to find out what was in store for me, because I don't really know what I'm getting into as life as a student again after all this time being a working person. And I do have a teaching assistantship, so I'll be able to teach horticulture, which is something that I really love to do and do whenever I can for anybody I can help out. So aside from the fact that I'm going to be tangled up for 2 years studying and doing research and helping other people learn about horticulture, I don't know what I'm going to do after that.
Carol, how long have you been here at the Mount?
This is my 12th year at the Mount. Not 12 total calendar years, but by the time I leave late in the summer, it will only be a few months short of 12 full years here.
You've probably seen a lot of changes during that time.
Yes, the campus has grown up in more ways than one.
Tell us what it was like 12 years ago when you arrived. What kind of challenges did you face as the new head gardener here at the Mount?
When I first came to the Mount took a big gamble on me, really, and hired me right out of horticulture school. I really had no experience, and for that I'm certainly grateful. When I first came here, most of the buildings weren't landscaped per se. I mean, the Mount campus has a lot of natural plant material, and there's a lot of trees and shrubs here that have been here for hundreds of years. We were really lucky to have some really old trees on campus. But the actual buildings, the campus development was very incomplete. There were no flower beds per se. The big garden that we have in front of Everestus was a rose bed, and that was a real problem because that was a really exposed location, and there was a lot of rose bushes in there, and we had to replace probably 50 or 60 every spring. It was a great expense. And the kids like to toboggan on that hill, as you know, and so the rose bed suffered quite a bit from traffic in the wintertime. It just wasn't the right place for the rose garden. So we moved that. That was one of the first things I did after a year. It took me a year to get enough nerve to do that one, to move that rose bed out of there. And then after that, you know, I just did a little bit at each building.
You've planted a lot of trees, I know that.
Oh, we have planted thousands of trees and shrubs on campus. Yeah, we really have.
And all blending in with the architecture and with the considering the health of the surrounding.
We have a nice mix of native trees and shrubs, and we have on campus everything and anything that can be purchased in the metro area at a garden center. When I go to garden centers now in the springtime to go shopping for the Mount, it's a very difficult thing because they don't offer anything that we don't already have as part of our collection. And so we've started to go a little farther afield. We've imported stuff from the US a number of times, and so it's a good, we have lots of different trees and shrubs, all kinds of interesting things. People that work here and come here get exposed to plants that they might not have been familiar with, and so it's been a lot of fun.
I understand that there are several new buildings, one that is almost completed construction, the Meadows, which will house the residence of the president and serve as headquarters for other university functions.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the new communications center, which is, plans are to begin that very soon.
Yeah.
How does that affect your work in planning the grounds?
The Meadows really throw life into disarray. Working through the summer landscaping that building, that whole thing is sort of being done in addition to everything else that we normally do anyway. We did bring on a couple of extra students to help with that, but for the most part, they're a largely inexperienced group. None of them have landscape construction experience, and I really think that all these extra projects that are getting done, they're fun, it's a challenge, but I really think they get done at the expense of the normal campus maintenance. But the landscape at the Meadows, hopefully, will look great in about 10 years. What we did up there, as you've mentioned, that communication center building is going in, and there's a lot of landscape in that area that had to be moved before construction could begin. And so what we did was we dug up all those trees and shrubs from that site, and we took them up to the Meadows and planted them up there. And that was done in the middle of July, in the hottest summer that I can remember. If it had only been last year when it rained all summer, it would have been a breeze. But we moved trees that had trunks 3 and 4 inches in diameter, dug them up and took them up there. The first thing they all did was turn fall color and drop their leaves. So it's a matter of time to see if that whole process was worthwhile or not. All I can say is I think so, and I certainly hope so.
Now, what when you were in the middle of your the most concentrated part of your work here at the Mount, I'm sure you must have had a long-range plan for the development of the grounds here at the university. How much have you achieved of that? What's left to be done?
Well, that's what, if anybody gardens, they know that you're never finished gardening. And I look at areas that I always thought were completely landscaped, and I think of things that I'd like to do now. And that's another thing about being in the landscape business. Your ideas about what you want change. I would never dream in a million years of ripping out a planting that we put in and replacing it with another one. I mean, you know, I don't think of landscape plants as being dispensable that way. But I think the use of perennials is really coming back into vogue, and what I'd like to do is to complement what's been done already with some nice perennial plantings, and maybe get a few more flowering shrubs in, and you know, just I always look around and think, well, I could add this here and I could put that there. I mean, there's just no end to it. You could just go on and on.
Is this going to bother you when you are no longer
when I leave?
At the helm and someone else will be making those decisions? Do you have anything that you would recommend, or as you pass the responsibilities on to someone else, what are your main concerns?
It's funny, you know, it's a very difficult thing. I was really young when I came to the Mount, in a position of authority as a supervisor and responsible for the whole campus. My job here is a very personal thing for me. Like, you know, I talk about my campus and I really look at it that way. You know, this is my yard and I've planted all these things, and this is my work. And it's not really the same thing as
leaving
doing
a desk
paperwork.
in an office. Yes.
That's right. It doesn't. All I hope is that whoever comes after me will be someone who grows to really love this whole campus as much as I do. And if that happens, then I don't have to worry about anything because I know that they'll really look after it.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. Now, something very special has come to my attention that as a token of appreciation for your service to the Mount, that the community has decided to establish a beautification fund in your name to continue what we hope will be lots of good work in keeping our campus one of the most beautiful in this part of the country.
Hopefully that will.
I'm just wondering now, what would you see the funds from the beautification fund, what kind of purchases would be made, what kind of things would be done with this money?
Well, there's a lot of things that the campus really needs that are sort of considered, yes, we do need that, but we can wait a few more years to put money into that. I think the first thing I'd like to see done with that fund is a number of years ago, one or two different graduating classes started a fund, put money into a fund to buy an aerating fountain for the pond at the Birches, because we have a big problem with that pond in the summertime. The water temperature there gets quite high and there's goldfish in that pond, and we really have an algae problem, and that would be cleared up magically if we just had an aerating fountain in that pond. So that's one of the first purchases I'd like to see made, and it's the type of thing that the students would really enjoy. The sound of falling water is a great thing. So it's that type of thing, things that are useful, that we need, that are considered a little bit of a luxury, and maybe we can go another year, and we've been going a number of years procrastinating on that purchase. So it's things like that.
Above and beyond your budgetary.
That's right. Or maybe if there was a really unusual plant that we should probably have in our collection, they tend to be a little pricey, that maybe the fund could go to purchase something like that.
At any rate, I'm sure you'll give lots of direction for the use of those funds.
Hopefully.
And in the meantime, if someone would like to contribute to the beautification fund for the Mount, they can do so by sending their contribution to the development office here at the university. Is that correct?
I do believe that's correct. And hopefully it will get funneled directly into the right account.
Great. Carol, we're going to take a few more minutes and look at some more lovely shots of your beautiful grounds.
Oh, good.
And I'm sure that there'll be lots of people as they stroll through here who will always think of you very fondly
great.
when they look
Thanks
at the
a lot.
beauty around us. Thanks, Carol.
Okay.